Hello everyone. How are you guys doing today? I'm okay, but I'm so sleepy. So we have a bunch of sleepyheads here. I am tired. Yeah. I'm not done grading your exam yet. Uh, and I'm not sure whether I'll be able to finish them by Thursday. If I do finish them by Thursday, then I'm going to return them. But if I don't, then you're going to get them on next week, Tuesday. However, you can start doing your test correction, which is do the entire exam, because the exam wasn't good. For most of you, it disappointed me so badly. So to access the test correction, you go to our class page under content, just like the last time. You see test correction on the left panel. The first one is exam 1. You're already done with that. The next one is here. Exam 2 test correction. I uploaded our exam both in PDF and Word format. So print that out like last time, and then do the entire exam this time with all details. Do not skip anything. With your tutor, either from Sec6, or your PLTL leaders, anyone. I can just write in a PDF and send it back. But make sure to do it with a tutor. Why? Because you didn't know them in the exam. So if you suddenly know them outside of the exam, there are two possibilities. Either you cheated, or your brain worked better outside of the exam. Just to be sure that your brain worked outside of the exam, I want you to have a tutor with you, okay? So that you deserve the 10% you get from the correction. I'm still grading your exam. So once I'm done grading your exam, then I'll go back and then check those test correction and then fix your points on exam 1 grade list. They all are actually open, even though they have a due date, but I put the end date later, so you still have a chance of doing it. And someone from my other class told me that they don't punish you with the 10% penalty. So you can still finish without penalty. But if you do get the penalty, let me know. Because they told me there is no penalty. They didn't receive any penalty. I'm confused because some of them, like after you get extended, they still say March. Yeah, because people told me there is no penalty. So if there is no penalty, I don't have to keep changing them. Even after the due date, you can keep doing it. So try to finish everything by due date. That should be a priority. But if you cannot finish everything, then you can still have time after the due date to finish them. But make sure you do them, okay? Do them with as high score as possible. You definitely need them, either to get your desired grade or just to pass with a minimum 60. But you really need them. My method is 20% of the grade. And like last time, you need your tutor name or email, name and email, but there is no sign. Okay, so I skipped the sign portion for the new exam correction. In the new exam correction, so first page is just your tutor's name and email. If they don't want to give the email, no problem. You're so smart. With your name, we can figure out the email. And then the second page is blank because we had two-sided, if you want. So one side and the other side is blank. So you have your entire exam from the third page. So in that way, if I want to, if you do it physically, you can just have an extra page. So make sure to do everything with detailed step. If you just give me the answer, it's 0. I'm not going to give you that any points for your only answer. When I say factor completely, make sure you factor completely, not half. And also do the extra credit. Okay, even if it's extra, but it's including your 10%. And this is a short one. The due date is 1 week from today, next week, Tuesday. Okay, so start working on your correction. And meanwhile, I'll do the grading. I had to grade exam for 3 classes, so this time it's really bad. All of my students, almost like 100 something, I have to grade, which is annoying. Plus, I'm fasting. Plus, these are last 10 days of Ramadan. We're supposed to worship more. So I don't have any time. So that's why I'm wanting to grade them slowly. Good news, our Ramadan will end within 2 or 3 days. And then I have plenty of time. Okay. Any question before you start? Any comments, concern, complaint? I didn't grade anyone full exam yet. So when I grade, I actually grade 1 page for everyone. And then 2nd page for everyone.
I have a question about the homework. So I know that we had to give us like was it for the 10th and the 17th?
All of them are open, I think. Like even though we have a due date, but you can still access them.
Okay, I'm gonna get like 10. There was one for the 10th, but I think you said that.
Yeah, I thought they'll take 10% as a penalty, but someone from my other class told me there is no penalty. They did it and they didn't. They got full credit. So why not try it? Let me know if you get the penalty. Then I have to change the due dates. Otherwise, I'll just leave them alone. Any other questions? Okay, so my plan for today is to finish 6.6 and start 6.7. We may not able to finish 6.7. We'll leave it for Thursday. Definitely we'll be able to finish Thursday. And then we'll start chapter 7. And your second exam, sorry, not second, your third exam. Your third exam will be exactly 2 weeks from today. It's the last day before our spring break. So our spring break will start from April 1st, April Fool Day. And just before April Fool Day on March 31st, you're going to have your third exam. On what? On 6.3 and then 6.5, 6, 7. And we'll decide how much of chapter 7 we can cover in 2 weeks. Okay. Another good news, there is no Friday class this week. So we have only 2 classes, today and Thursday. There is no Friday for anyone, not only this class, for your entire schedule. There is no class on Friday. School is closed. Okay. Any question, comments, concern, complaint?
So you only graded the first page of everybody's test?
Not even everybody.
And it's already now looking too good?
Exactly. And first page is 40 points. Even though it's a 35, but then to make up the 90 or something, I put together 5 more. So if you're doing not good in 40 out of 90, I think 90 or 95, whatever, what you're going to do in the rest? Yeah. Plus, during your exam, I saw how wonderfully wrong way you did your factoring. I'm not too hopeful, to be honest. Yeah. Some people don't even know what is GCF. GCF, the greatest common factor. You don't even know how to see the GCF. How disappointed that was. Okay, anyway, you need to know all these factorings. Why? Because in which section is it? 6.6. In 6.6, you're going to do factoring first. Once you factor completely, you set each factor equals to 0 to solve for x. So the difference between factoring and solving is that in factoring, you factor, you stop, you're done. But in solving, Once you factor, you have to go further. Simplify or get the x alone from each factor. So solving takes longer than factoring. Let's start with an easy question. We have two terms, 5x squared plus 80, and the equal 0 means solve for x. So anytime they want you to solve anything, they definitely will give you an equal sign. Without an equal sign, there is no way you can solve anything. Okay? So solve is related with equal sign. If you don't see an equal sign, that means you just factor and stop. But equal sign means get the x alone. So two terms. What are the factoring methods we have for two terms? What's the first method? GCF. And what's the second method? Factoring of two terms. What's the second method? Start with D. Difference. Difference of perfect squares. So the two terms you have, either you can factor out a GCF, or you have a difference of perfect squares. So you get the two factors by taking their square root. So what do you observe here? Do you have any GCF? What is our GCF? 5. And remember, what did I say? When you start your day with negative, would you like it? No. So this polynomial start with a negative. What should we do? Factor that out. Anytime you have a negative in your polynomial that starts a polynomial with, factor that negative out. If it's in the middle, we don't care. But we don't want to start with negative. That's our problem. No negative people in our life. So we factor out negative 5, then what is left? X squared. And in the second term, we have 80, and we factored out the negative 5. 16, what sign? We have positive 80, and we factored out negative 5. So you have to be negative 16. That's why I told you, in order to see what is left, do the division manually so you can see what is left after you factor them out. Okay, now we still have two terms, and what do you notice this time? Difference of perfect squares. So we have square root of x squared and square root of 16. What is square root of x squared and square root of 16? 4. So what two factors we get from here?
X plus 4, x minus 4.
Good job. And we bring down our negative 5. Now the second term, x plus 4, has an x in it. The third factor, x minus 4, has an x in it. But the negative 5 in the front, does it have any x with it? Anytime we don't have any x, it's useless. And we don't want to have useless people in our life, right? So get rid of them. If we had x next to the 5, we could not divide. But since there is no x next to the 5, kill it. So we have x plus 4, x minus 4 equals 0. Now they're saying if you multiply these two, the result will be 0. And did I tell you before? If you multiply several things and the result is 0, one of them definitely has to be what? Not wrong. One of them, if you want the product to be 0, for example, if you multiply 2 times 3, what's the result? What's the product? Good. If you multiply, let's say 4 times 5, what's the product? 20. 20, 20. Now, if you multiply 0 times 3, what's the product? If you multiply, let's say 4 times 0, what's the result? 0. So if you want the result, the product to be 0, one of the things you're multiplying has to be what? 0. So if you have two non-zero numbers, the result there is no way it can be 0. The product of two non-zero numbers is never 0. So we know the product of these two is 0. So one of them has to be what? Definitely 0. But do we know which one? Because they're x, we have no idea. That's why we said, well, we know one of them must be 0. But since we don't know which one, probably the first one is 0. Probably. Or maybe the second one is 0. Okay, we don't know which one. So we said both of them to be 0. And then we said, well, if the first one is 0, then what value of x makes it 0? If x plus 4 is 0, then x is what? Negative 4. So we subtract 4 from both sides, and we find out that, well, the first term will be 0 if our x is negative 4. And what if the second term is 0? Then x will be what number? 4. In other words, the first one is 0 if x is negative 4. The second one is 0 if x is positive 4. So if you put either negative 4 or positive 4, the product will be 0. Besides 4 and negative 4, if you put anything else, you're not going to get 0. And this rule is called zero product property of zero product theorem, something like that. Any question?
The answer would be negative 4 and 4, or either answer is right?
Either answer is right. So if your answer is negative 4, then this product is 0. Or if your answer is negative 4, still the answer is 0. So you have two choices, two options. Christian?
What if could you write x equals plus minus 4?
We can do that. No problem. Now that takes us to a question. If the product is 6, x plus 4 and x minus 4, the product is 6, then can we say that one of these product is definitely 6? Is this true or is this false? If you think you don't know, no problem. Go back to my original question. 2 times 3 is how much? Does that mean 2 is 6 or 3 is 6? Definitely not. 2 is 2 and 6 is 6. So is this true? Of course not. This is true only when the product is 0. If the product is not 0, it's definitely not true for any other non-zero number. Okay? So if you see something like this, do not ever set them equal to the number on the other side of the equal sign. Christian, no fun. Question so far? So now you understand what to do, right? Step 1, factor. But you have to see a 0. So anytime you're solving anything, you need to see a 0 on one side. Once you see 0 on one side, then go ahead, factor, set each factor equals 0, and solve for x. These are the 3 steps. Clear? Go ahead, try one. That direction says solve for x. Done already? Then I have another one for you. And if you're done with both of them, then I have 3 more. Will you put them together in one page? So let me put these two together. Yes. Yes. Let me know once you're done with these two. We can do them together. And let me make this, modify this a little bit so that the other two you can do them easily. Okay. The first one is easy, right? At least the first one. Who'd like to try the first one? I'm going to ask you the harder one. Justin. Rana. Mm-hmm. X minus 5, 0, add 5, x equals 5. Perfect. So they're telling us if you substitute one of these into the equation, it's supposed to get 0. So you can always check whether your answer is correct or not. We have x squared minus 25. If x is negative 5, so you put the parenthesis around negative 5 minus 25. And what is negative 5 squared? Positive 25. And what is 25 minus 25? 0. So see, when x is negative 5, we get the statement correct. Or when x is positive 5, we put 5 squared minus 25, which is same as 25 minus 25, 0. This is what it means to have x equals 5 and negative 5. Means if you substitute them into the original one, the answer will be 0. Now in the second one, you don't have to show the check. The box ones, after the box ones. I show you the checking because in case in the exam, if you're not sure whether you got them correct or not, you can always check them. Who would like to try B? Christian.
So first,
Multiply, so let me rewrite x squared plus 6x equals 8. Multiply by negative 1. But what do you get when you multiply negative 1? So do you see 0 on one side? Remember, solve means 0. You want to see 0. So you don't see any 0. What can you do so that you can see 0 so that you can solve?
Oh, we have an 8 on the other side. Yeah, so we have to put a negative.
We already have a negative. Positive. So you cannot divide because x squared doesn't have any 2 in front. So we want everything together on one side so that we can solve by having a 0 on the other side of the equal sign. So solving means please look at the 0, whether you have it or not. If you don't have it, do something so that you can have the 0. So we get x squared minus 6x plus 8 equals 0. And now we have 3 terms. So what methods we learn to factor 3 terms? What's the first method?
I don't know if this is the first method, but
It's called direct factoring because you're going to factor directly, directly without doing any manipulation. Directly, go ahead, find your two binomials. So two numbers multiply to C, but add up to your middle term B. -4, -2. And how are you going to split your x square? X and x. So in other words, what we did was we split x square into x and x, and we split our 8 into -4 times -4. This is what factoring means. Split your A, split your C, the result will give you B. So you -2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So what's next? Good. First, you have to set them equal to 0. So add 4, we get x equals 4. And how about the second one? What do we do? We add 2, so x is 2. Please do not try to do the math mentally, like this +4 +2. Why? Because you can do them mentally correctly, perfectly. But when you write them down, most of the time people get them wrong. Most of the time. That's why do it manually so you can see what sign you have. Is it plus or minus? Once you're confident about your sign, then go ahead, do it mentally. But at the beginning level, try to do all the things manually so that you can, your eyes can see them, and then transfer the knowledge to your brain. That, hey, you're adding, you're subtracting. Now go ahead, enjoy these 3 with your neighbors. And they all are 3 terms. So remember, what are the methods we learned for 3 terms? So we learned direct factoring, and what's the other method we learned for factoring 3 terms? AC, good job. Anytime you see your A, it's AC method, always. Unless you have trial method, you can try. You can try trial method on AC. And let me take your attendance. Hey, I saw you somewhere. Christina. No, Christina. Christopher. Daniel. Develat. Dennis. Idalis. Jared. Jay. Joshua. Justin. Caitlin. Kelly. Kyle. Lady. Montaha. Nayari. Nicholas I. Nicholas S. RST. Rana. Ricardo. Taj. Mora. And Zichi. So absent. Christina. Davalat. Nayari. And Zichi. You don't have to work alone. You can talk with your neighbors. Enjoy this. Enjoy. How is your group chat going? The group chat you created, guys? Are you communicating with your neighbors? Right? Hmm? When your A is visible, which method you use? AC method, and you have two types, either the weird one, means disappear your A, or the formal, means grouping method. Do subtract 72 from both sides, and then you factor directly because there is no A. So you factor directly. This is wrong because minus 70 plus 1 matches 1. So the consequences me, but add up to and then I will find no. The answer is
For this one.
fraction is real, so real for problem.
Okay.
Fraction. Realize that. So it's here to be zero. Needs to be zero. So first step, do something so that one side has the zero. So what can you do so that one side of the two sides has zero? You want 72 is zero, right? But this is zero is so this side will be zero, which is one. And on the left side, you have
65.
and what is the step you have?
Yeah.
Do you think like comes like comes with after the same variable with the same power? Because the same variable with the same power. Huh? No, you get extra power by multiplying. Here you're not multiplying your subtraction. And you have to add and subtract, you have to have the variable with the same power. Do you have the variable with the same power? Same thing. So you cannot combine any of this. So you keep all of it. So keep writing.
No, that was.
You don't have the same value with the same thought. You can combine anything. So you have three different the left side of it. So, how many times? Next one. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. You have to take 3 things on the left side of the line. The matter that are combinable. You can find them as they are. Why are you using one thing and I can another thing? You have to keep all of them. This extra minus x minus all of these things. That's what it is. Yeah. And if you my friend has that. So far good. I can take a back to 1 hour. What do you think we can do? So it's gonna be a fraction. I think that's one thing. You should have a property. So what we multiply to minus the and add up to you cannot because you don't use zero.
Oh, no, but.
No, you have to do it first. You have to solve and subtract zero. And then you can.
It's one of the weird things, and get it to find out how to do it.
Oh, once you set them down, decide.
No, but it's so I saw them.
You go book of them. That's not no problem. The point you would really like into it.
Oh, no, because I put the phone and then like I kind of like erased the phone.
So you
Oh, wait.
go back. Did
Oh, yeah.
you find them or another video?
I saw them, so.
But whatever factor you have, the factor is small, but it's not easy.
Oh,
You still have to complete it.
Yeah.
Did not. Okay, since we don't have much time, let's start doing it together. Is there anybody who is done with all 3 of them completely? No. How many are done with at least 2? And how many are done with at least 1? And what happened to the rest of the class? Okay, let's do them together since since we do not have much time. Let me erase this.
Okay, let me start with Ricardo. Step 1. But point is to solve. See, I said solve means you have to see 0 on one side of the equal sign. Do you see 0 on one side of the equal sign? So it is the first step. You have to subtract the 72 from both sides so that one side of the equal sign is see a 0. So automatically means you want to see a 0. So what do you on the other side, on the left side? X squared minus x with minus 72. And now you're correct. So step 1, bring your 0 in the equation. So which method you're going to use to factor? SE method or direct method? Direct. There is no A, so direct factoring. Means you're going to factor directly. So how are you going to split it x squared? One in both x and x. And how about 72? The minus 72. 8 and what? Good. So we have 8 and 9. 9 must get which sign? 9 has to be negative because of the middle sign. The bigger factor must get the middle sign. That's the rule. Now, if 9 is negative and you want to get 1, 8 has to have which sign? Positive. Good job. That's how you figure out your decimal, not decimal, what sign? First, you fix your bigger sign, and then you do the math to get the smaller sign. Okay, Ricardo, what is the next step? X minus 9 equals 0. We need to just add the 9. And for the other one, subtract 8. So final answer, x equals 9, negative 8. Perfect. 2 solutions. Any question from anyone? You want to try the next one? Or question about the last one? Which one? The next one? Okay. The last one, the 4th degree.
Yeah.
Question, go ahead. Or you want to try which one? Then wait. First do the this time.
So we do. Yeah.
You want to do the last one, so let me pick someone for this one. Who would like to try this one? Joshua. Remember, solve means one side of the equal sign must be what? Subtract 20. So what do we get? Perfect. Trial and error? Good. So what did you try with? 3 and 1. And how about 20? How did you break them down? 4 and 5. And then how did you play with them? 4 and 8. No, 4 and 15. 4, 15 doesn't work, right? The other way around. So 5 and 12. Yeah, it works. We get 12x and 5x. So which sign has to be plus, the 12 or 5? Minus is 5. So that's why this 5 has to be minus. This 4 has to be plus. So what are the two factors we get from here? Sorry, one of them is 3x and the other one is 1x. So you played 3 with 4. So 4 must be next to which one? 3x or 1x? X. And then minus 5 goes there. All right. Equals 0. So x plus 4, 0. 3x minus 5, 0. That gives us x equals -4, because we are going to subtract 4 from both sides. And how about the next one? Add 5. 3x equals 5. What's the sign between 3 and x? Multiplication. When you don't see any sign between two things, it's multiplication. So what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. That's how you decide whether you want to divide or subtract or add. Multiplication brings division. We get a fraction. X equals 5/3. So he used trial and guess. But you don't have to use trial and guess if you don't want to. If you don't want to, then let me show you the normal method. The AC method. So we have 3x squared plus 7x minus 20 equals 0. Who would like to try this with AC method? You only tried with error. Kishan, you already answered one question, right? Kaylee. 3 times -20 gives us -60. So 12 and 5, what sign they're supposed to have? Oh, so you used this one. Positive 12x minus 5x minus 20 and 3x squared. So use normal AC method. So we have grouping. What's the common factor? Then what is left? X plus 4 -5 x plus 4
4x plus 4 is in common, you put that in one of parentheses.
Mhm.
You're outside the 3x minus 5 in the other parentheses.
Mhm.
And you set each of them 0. Plus 0 is 0, the 4.
Mhm.
And then the other one is you add 5 to both sides and then divide by
3
and get
5/3. So you get the same result doing both. And if you use the weird AC method, you So weird one. Let me show you real quick here. Weird. You do x squared plus 7x minus 60. You get x plus 12, x minus 5. 12 is divisible by a, so you divide 12 by 3 here. 5 is not divisible, so you multiply the x here. In other words, you get x plus 4 and 3x minus 5, which is same as the other two methods. So we showed all three things: trial, formal AC method, weird AC method. Any question on any of these? Okay, Daniel, the last one.
Because I didn't get 2 answers. I got more.
Of course you get more.
Yeah, so for that one,
So how you're going to split it x to the 4 evenly?
I did the x squared.
X squared and x squared, good.
12 multiplied by 4 and I think 5.
Mm-hmm.
Negative 4.
-4 and -1.
Then both.
Good job. Difference of perfect squares, both of them. So what do we get from the first pair? X plus 2, x minus 2. And what do we get from the second pair? X plus 1, x minus 1. So how many factors we got? So how many solutions we supposed to get? Good job.
Based on the exponent of the first one.
We are going to discuss that. Let's finish this. So what do you do from here? We have product of 4 things equals 0. And then what? So it means maybe the first one is 0. Or maybe the second one is 0. Or could be the third one is 0. Or maybe the last one is 0. Who knows? But we know definitely one of them must be 0 because the product is 0. So since we don't know which one is 0, we are going to solve all of them. So what do you do in the first one? We have plus 2. So what do you do? Minus 2. In the second one, what do you do? Plus 2. In the third one, what do you do? Minus 1. And the last one? We add 1. So that tells us x equals -2 or x equals +2 or x equals -1 or x equals +1. It doesn't matter which number you take, if you substitute there, the result will be 0. So there are 4 numbers that makes the expression that gave us is 0. 4 of them. Now that takes us to Daniel's question. Is this true that number of degree tells us number of solution? Like we have 4th degree here, and surprisingly, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 solutions. We had 2 degree here, and we have 1, 2 solutions. So it is always true that number of degree tells us number of solutions. Let me ask you, actually it is not true, okay? The number of degree tells us maximum number of solution we may have. So 4th degree cannot have 5 solutions. Maximum we can have is 4. But it doesn't mean we can definitely have 4. We can have 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, can you think of a quadratic, means highest degree 2? that doesn't have two solutions, or highest degree 4 that doesn't have 4 solutions but only one solution. Can you think of a polynomial y equals something? So when you set the polynomial equal to 0, the answer is only one of them. You can't? So can you think of a polynomial when you try to solve it, there is only one solution?
Because if the result will give us positive, there's nothing that we can do, even though it's different of perfect square, because it have to be negative to be a different perfect square.
So anything that you try to solve, the answer will give you only one solution, no more than one.
Is it just X squared?
Good. If you have y equals x squared, and if you try to solve x squared equals to 0, what number when you square the answer is 0? 1 square is 1. Which number when you square it becomes 0? There is only one number, the 0 itself. So how many solutions we have? Only one. Similarly, if you have x to the 4 equals 0, and now it's bugging. So which number when you multiply 4 times, the answer is 0? Only 0. Which number if you try to multiply 3 times, the answer is 0? 0. See, all those things we have different degrees, square, cube, fourth, but it doesn't matter. The answer, the solution is only one of them, x equals 0. So the degree doesn't tell us how many solutions we have. It just tells us how many maximum number of solutions we may have. And in my interview day, the first time I did the interview to be an instructor, they actually asked me this question. What's wrong with this? That number of solutions and the degree, how they're related. So I told them, well, number of degree means number of solutions. So for square degree, we have 2 solutions. Cubic degree is supposed to give us 3 solutions. Fourth degree is supposed to give us 4 solutions. And they're like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, of course I'm sure, because I see all these examples in my life, so it's true. And then they're like, well, solve x squared equals 0. It's like, oh man, x equals 0. We have only one solution. Like, man, they got me. And then from that time, I never made the same mistake again. So degree can tell us the maximum amount of solution we may have, but it's definitely not the total solution number we have. With this, we are done with 6.6. Ta-da! So go try do your homework on 6.6. Enjoy all of your factoring. These are very important. In the final exam, I forgot to tell you, in the final exam, you're going to have at least, what happened? Oh, I lost my last 2 pages. Don't get ready. We still have 10 minutes. We are starting 6.7 now. Okay, I'll try to fix this later. Of course not. Come on, you have to finish the syllabus. Did I tell you that your exam is exactly 2 weeks from today? 2 weeks from today. Okay, I lost my data for the last few examples. So I'll try to recover them later. But for now, 6.7, it means basically when do we use these factoring and solving? Well, we do use them. One of them is to have fun, like this one. Can you think of a number when you add the number with the square The result is 156. So one number plus its square is 156. 73 squared. Do you know what is 73 square? No. Think of smaller ones. The number plus its square is 156. Huh? 12? Let's see. What is 12 square? 144. 144. And if we add the 12, what do you get? 156. Good. So definitely one of them is 12. But is 12 the only number? When you add its square, the answer is 156. So see, now you have to think harder. You think so? So let's see mathematically, is this true or false? Okay. So since we want to test it out and we don't know our answer, so we're looking for something, let's say that something is x. So we have x squared. X plus x squared, the answer is 156. So we have a quadratic equation because our highest degree is 2. So how are you going to solve it? What is our first step? Remember, I said solve it. So what does solve mean? What do you have to see? Equals to 0. Minus what? Good job. Minus 156. And let's rearrange the left side in decreasing order. X squared minus 156. Okay, your guess is second one is negative 12. Let's see. So we have negative 12. And what is negative 12 square? 144. So basically, it's subtracting 12 from 144. Nah, doesn't work. Now, this question is asking you two numbers multiply to 156, add up to 1. So since add up to 1, that means the number you're looking for, they have to be consecutive numbers, right? Otherwise, how can they add up to 1? For example, 1 and 0, their sum is 1, right? 1 and 2, their difference is 1. 2 and 3, their difference is 1. 4 and 5, difference is 1. So in order to have the sum or difference 1, we have to look for two consecutive numbers. So let's start with 0. 0 and 1. Do you get 156 if you multiply them? 1 and 2. Do you get 156? 2 and 3. Start with something higher. Tell me what number. Let's start with 8, 7 and 8. Okay. 7 and 8. Do you get 156? It's only 56. 8 and 9. No. How about 9 and 10? 90. 10 and 11. 110. 11 and 12. 132. 12 and 13. 156. So 2 is multiplied to 156. We found our two numbers, 12 and 13. And we have x and x. Which one is bigger, 13 or 12? So 13 must have which sign? That means 12 have to have which sign? See, we found our two factors. What do we do with each factor? Equals to 0. So x minus 12, 0. X plus 13, 0. So if x minus 12, 0, how much is the x? We add 12, so x is 12. And Christian already told us the answer, x is 12. And how about the other one? We subtract 13. So it's negative 13, Christian, not negative 12. You were very close, but you still got it wrong. But math told us the correct one. See, that's why learning quadratic helped us, because you can try this with your friends. Pick something smaller or something bigger and see if they can figure out. Number plus its square is some number, what numbers you have. So bottom line, when you use solving quadratic, something like this to have fun. Or maybe you are making something in construction. This time they are making a rectangle and they are working with length, width, and area. So we have a rectangle. Let's say L means length and W means width. Okay. And how do you know area of a rectangle? Just enough one. Area of a rectangle. What's the area of a rectangle? Length times width. So we have this information. Now let's go and read the question given to us. The length of a rectangle, which is L. What does is mean? Which symbol we use for is in math? Equal. Good job. So L is, I hate this when this happens. File, go save. Can I write now? I hope we do. L is 5 centimeter less than 4 times width. Yeah. 5 centimeter less. So what do we do in 5 centimeter less? Minus 5. Good. And then 4 times its width. What does 4 times width mean? 4 times width. Multiplication. So 4 width, 4W. Let me restart. Give me 1 second. You know, very often I get nightmare that something bad happened, like someone is trying to kill me or someone is trying to break into a house, and I'm trying to call 911, but I can never call 911. Like the phone doesn't work for some reason in my dream. Never it worked. So I like in real life, I get so scared when something happens. What if I want to call 911, but it never happens? So a few days ago, in our apartment, water was leaking through the light bulb in the restroom from upstairs. Like it was really scary scenario. So my mama said, let me call 911. And I took the phone and I was like, should I call? Or should I shouldn't. Like my dream was keep flashbacking them. Like I always trying to, like in my dream I was trying to call them, but something always happened. Surprisingly, it worked in real life. Why I'm telling you this? Because see here, we don't have time and it's not working. Sometimes when you really want to do something, something to work, but it doesn't work. It's so weird. But let's finish in 3 minutes, 2 minutes. I have it work this time. So we have is means equal. So length is 5 centimeter less, means minus 5. Then 4W. So 4W minus 5. And that's the only information they told us. Length is 5 less than 4W. So W is W, its width, and length is 5 centimeter less than 4 times the width. And they're telling us the area of this weird rectangle is 6. So area is 6. The length is 4W minus 5. And the width itself is the W. Christian.
So I'm pretty sure, like, for this question, this is just like what is the area centimeters, and we all know that like rectangles are not even. So 6, what equals to 6? 3 times 2, and then you put the 2 as the length, and then the width as the 3. But then you do it like that, or no?
But it says length is 4 times width minus 5. They have a condition for length. It's 4 times. So if this is your length, then your width is 1, 2, 3, 4 times more minus the number 5. So that's why trying to do it mentally is it will take longer than if you do just algebra, the quadratic. If you do quadratic, we're going to distribute our W to the length. So we get 4W squared minus 5W equals 6. So we got a quadratic equation. Since we have to solve, but we don't see any 0, so we need to subtract the 6 from both sides so we can see the 0. Let's see. So we have 4W squared minus 5W minus 6 equals 0. So it's a quadratic equation. Which method are we supposed to use to solve? AC. Unless it's weird, it's the shortest. So W squared minus 5W, AC is 4 times negative 6. What do you get? So can you think of 2 numbers multiply to negative 24, but add up to 5? 8 and 3. What sign 8 must have? Negative, because of the middle sign. Then if you want to get 5 from negative 8, are you going to add 3 or minus 3? Add 3. And then you bring back your A. Which of these is divisible by 4? So you divide 8 by 4 and multiply the W by 4 in the other one. So in other words, the 2 factors we get is W minus 2 and 4W plus 3. Equals 0. So you take each of them and you solve for W. In the first one, how much is the W? 2. And in the second one, you need to subtract 3. So you get 4W is negative 3. So W is negative 3/4. But what does W represent? Width. So can you have a negative width? So we wasted our time. In the exam, if you can see that it will be negative eventually, then don't waste your time. Simply say width cannot be negative. That means we have only solution. Our width is 2 centimeters. But it says, what's the dimension? Means both length and width. So how much is the length? 4 times the width minus 5. So 8 minus 5, which is 3. The answer is 3 and 2, just like Christian said. But we had to do all these things because of the condition that length is 4W minus 5. So this is another scenario where we use quadratic to solve real life scenario. From this section, we are going to do only 2 more questions. Okay, but the homework has so many questions. So you can do the homework little by little. You can search them online. You can go to tutoring, do them with tutors, no problem. I was going to, but then someone told me like even if you do it after the deadline, there is no penalty. So even if I have the deadline, you can still do them without losing any points. So try them. A few weeks. So have a good day, guys. See you on Thursday. Remember, Friday days no school.
Friday's no school?
Uh-huh.
This Friday.
This Friday. Nayani, you are here. Am I too absent? How come you didn't say present?
I'm not sure yet, but I don't know if I'll be here the day of the test, March 31st.
Why not?
I'm not sure if I'll be here. I'll see. I'll be able to tell you later this week.
You have only one.